China installs a floating barrier along Bajo de Masinloc in Zambales, preventing Filipino fishermen from entering the area. The Department of Information and Communications Technology is now looking into a cyber attack against PhilHealth. And Gilas Pilipinas flies to China with last-minute replacement players ahead of their basketball conquest in the Asian Games. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Riza Diaz. We begin the newscast with the Philippines' call for peaceful settlements in the disputed West Philippine Sea at the United Nations. Speaking at the UN General Assembly, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo said adherence to international law will help keep the Indo-Pacific region free and open. Manalo added that the Philippines is working with other countries to promote a rules-based international order. China claims the South China Sea nearly in its entirety, but the 2016 arbitration ruling invalidated this claim. Meanwhile, Manalo said the Philippines is also working with partners for rules to govern lethal autonomous weapon systems.
We advocate the peaceful settlement of disputes in accordance with international law. This has always been our position with respect to the disputes in the West Philippine Sea. We call for UN partnerships that guarantee that new technologies are not weaponized to exploit the vulnerable and violate human rights and human dignity.
The Philippine Coast Guard says China has installed a floating barrier in Bajo de Masinloc or Scarborough Shoal. The PCG discovered the 300-meter floating barrier during a maritime patrol mission on Friday. This prevented over 50 Filipino fishing boats from entering the shoal and engaging in fishing activities at that time. According to the accounts of Filipino fishers, the Chinese Coast Guard typically deploys floating barriers whenever they observe a significant presence of Filipino fishermen in the area. The PCG vowed to continuously work closely with all concerned government agencies to address the matter. Meanwhile, the Defense Department slams China for accusing BRP Sierra Madre of causing damage to coral reefs in the West Philippine Sea. In a statement, Defense Secretary Gibo Chidoro called China's claims hypocritical. He added that China is the one damaging the area through its illegal reclamation activities, and that China was the one found to have damaged marine environment in the 2016 arbitral ruling. Now, Chidoro also stressed that these kinds of Chinese propaganda only expose their insincerity and will only heighten mistrust in their government. Recall that the Chinese government accused the Philippines of stirring political drama after attributing the destruction of corals in Rosal Reef to the swarming of Chinese vessels in the area. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The DICT says the government won't pay for the ransom money following a cyber attack against PhilHealth. DICT Undersecretary Jeffrey D. said they do not want to encourage the economics of criminal activities of the group called Medusa. Medusa set a $300,000 ransom for the stolen data of PhilHealth. According to D, random data were collected, including personal information of administrators and copies of memoranda. PhilHealth said it targets to restore all systems by Monday.
This is actually a cat and mouse game. Like I said, they're evolving. Unfortunately, we're also ill-equipped because we don't have enough budget to counter them. Ano? They're very enterprising criminal syndicate. So it's a cat and mouse game, but we're trying our best. It's just that there are some systems that are compromised. Earlier this year, I think their extended defense mechanisms licenses have expired.
In weather, rains are expected over several parts of the country in the next 24 hours. Pag-asa was monitoring 2 low-pressure areas on Saturday, but the one spotted off eastern Luzon already dissipated. Now, while the other one that was seen west of Zambales has already exited the Philippine area of responsibility. Despite this, the LPA's trough in Habagat will bring scattered rains over Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon and Visayas. Mindanao may also experience isolated rains due to habagat and localized thunderstorms. In sports, the Gilas Pilipinas team is now headed to China for the 19th Asian Games. The team departed earlier today, 2 days before it takes on Bahrain in the men's basketball games. Last-minute replacement players traveled with the team. These are Arvin Tolentino, CJ Perez, Marshall Lassiter, Chris Ross, and Kevin Alas. Now, the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas earlier announced that some players may not be allowed to play due to eligibility issues. The games open on Saturday in Hangzhou, China, with a spectacular ceremony after a year's delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Chinese President Xi Jinping welcomed over 12,000 athletes from more than 45 participating countries. The Philippines is sending in 395 athletes, hoping to match its 4 gold medal haul from the 2018 edition of the Asian Games. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again tomorrow as we monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.